What is a Hashimoto's flare-up? Okay, so the question for the day is, what is a Hashimoto's flare-up? So Hashimoto's, Hashimoto's can present itself in so many different ways. It's crazy. And it can have so many different triggers, and the numbers can be all over the place. And so there's a variety of things that would tell you if your particular Hashimoto's syndrome is first unstable. It has to be unstable for you to get flare-ups. And what that means is that the immune system has reached the level of attacking your thyroid at a high level, at a very high level. And so there's like 40 triggers, and you're going to have a number of them if you have Hashimoto's. And as these triggers start to continue to be incurred by you as life goes on, your immune system is going to become more and more reactive to them. And not everybody's, but the person who has a flare-up, your immune system is very reactive to it. It might be because you have a viral infection. A lot of these triggers can create a more susceptible patient. It could be that you actually have a viral infection in your thyroid. It could be any number of different viruses. It could just be that your Th1 system, which is the system that attacks most of the time, that could be overactive. But the point being, what you're going to be experiencing is a combination of hypo and hyperthyroid symptoms. And so those hypo and hyperthyroid symptoms are going to be, the hypo is going to be, I'm overweight, my hair's falling out, my skin's dry, I've got constipation, I'm fatigued, I can't get out of bed, I have good days, I have bad days. On my good days, I do everything I can't do on the bad days, and I crash, and my hair is falling out. I think I said that one already. And then intermittently, what's going to happen is you're going to get hyper symptoms. When you're getting the hyper symptoms is when you are having a degree of flare-up. Some are mild, and some are off the charts. And that's heart anxiety, panic attacks, heart palpitations, night sweats, insomnia, inward tremors. Those are the main ones. Okay. Now, as it starts to really ramp up in those people who have those symptoms, now you can start getting actual physiological abnormalities from it. Your reflexes will become hyper reflexive. Your heart, like I said, will start pounding. Maybe you'll start sweating. You might start getting a lot of sweating on your palms. You might stop blinking. I mean, this is when you start getting, when you get a big flare up and you start seeing those types of things. But the main thing is your thyroid will swell. It's funny, once I started palpating thyroids, I was in shock how many people came in here was told their thyroids were normal, and I would put my fingers there and they'd go, ooh, that hurts, because their thyroid was inflamed and it was swollen. So there's all different degrees of that. I mean, I've had people in here where I'm doing a video consultation, and I can see their thyroid, literally pulsating. Okay. Some people get goiters, but a flare-up is like when your thyroid flares up. You may have difficulty swallowing. It may cause your throat to close, or it may cause your voice to change, and it's usually tender, and you feel terrible. Usually, when you get a flare-up, you feel terrible. You don't feel good. You feel like maybe you might even feel like you have a flu, because viral issues can frequently be involved with flare-ups of that nature. So they're pretty severe. As far as thyroid patient goes, when you start getting to the point where you're sweating and your heart's palpitating, and then your thyroid's tender and it swells up, and in people who really are, like, let's say, 7, 8, 9, 10 on this scale, maybe 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 on the scale of Hashimoto flare-ups, I mean, usually they're going to be able to feel their thyroid. They're going to know it's swollen and puffy. It's going to be tender, and then it'll go down. And then it'll go down when now maybe maybe you're having a day where you're totally relaxed. You haven't eaten anything that's going to flare anything up. You haven't over-exercised. You haven't done any of the number of things that, when you put them all together, will trigger this particular type of flare. Stress, huge trigger. But you usually have to have a number of these other things going on for that to flare it up. But it's really about you going into significant hyperfunction, and most notable flare-ups, you're going to get swelling. And if you're getting that, by the way, I mean, you're missing a lot of triggers. If you even know what I'm referring to as triggers. But if you're missing that, that is a accumulation of a lot of triggers that are just putting you on the edge, and then one day you don't sleep enough, one day you overdo it, one day you over-exercise, or you just do too many things, or maybe you eat something that's a particular trigger for Hashimoto's, or you eat something that's a particular trigger for you, and boom. And then it's off to the races. And the flares can last for weeks. Weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. They can last for a couple of days, they can last until you finally find somebody who knows how to help you to get out of it. So it could last for months. So yes, there are such things as Hashimoto's flares. That's what they look like. And when you get them, you just need to know, you need to find somebody to help you get out of not just that flare, but get all the underlying stuff under control to the degree as possible, so you don't have those flares anymore. And that is possible to do. So that is kind of the Cliff Notes summation of Hashimoto's flares.